This is revolutionary. I think for anybody who's ever written a book, once you've written the book, it's kind of stagnant. What I've done here is taken a still stagnant book and I've breathed life into it by taking that and basically turning the whole book into a guidebook with variables. So now everything you're learning is able to be passed through the book. And so you're seeing my book's version of this discussion, key takeaways from that. And then it gives you glossary, vocabulary. Now, Dogen. Oh my God, Dogen is the master of Japanese pitch accent and Matt versus Japan. So supposing I go out there and I want to get one of Dogen's clips on pitch accent. Copy the URL from Dogen's clip and I come across here and I just say add video URL. Bang, and bang, I have Dogen's clip there. And again, I can save this to my toolbox. I got Dogen in there teaching me about Japanese pitch accent that I can now watch. You've got the kanji, you've got the furigana in kana up top, you've got your kana here, you've got the romaji here, you've got the pitch accent class here. So you've got heiban, odaka, heiban, atamadaka, whatever it is. And then I generate these on the fly. What if I actually want a lesson? If you're learning Thai, Chinese, Lao, Vietnamese, Malay, Japanese, and even in Thai, you could be learning Isan, Northern Thai, Southern Thai. If you're learning Chinese, right now I've got it wired for Mandarin, Cantonese, Southern Min, that's Taiwanese, Hokkien, Singapore, or Teochew. Or in Lao, you've got Standard, Pakse, Luang Prabang, Lao. In Vietnamese, you have Northern, Central, Southern. In Malay, we've got Standard, Kelantan. The reason I've put Kelantan and Jawi in there is because Kelantan Malay is actually what the southern provinces of Thailand speak as well. And Jawi for real Thai Jawi that we call Bahasa Jawi in Thailand. And Japanese. And so I've got Kansai Ben and Standard Japanese at the moment. Have a look at this. Let me do Thai first. And so the way I've got it, let me say, write me a dialogue of a tourist looking for the closest BTS station. It's building out, bang, we have it here. Look at this. Now it knows it's Thai. So I've built a specific agent for learning Thai, but just showing you, if you have AI enabled and your keys enabled, you can click on this. You've got every single syllable and word in there done. You've seen the pitch there. Not only that, with this one in particular, you can actually swap dialects. So if you want to see what the pitches would be for those words in Isan, bang, it changes the pitch contours. But let's go back to Bangkok Thai. And look at this. Now it's built a lesson out. Now, if you want to add that to your toolbox, by the way, that thing, bang, I've got it added here and it's all added it down there to keep for a later date. It's gone through the text that I would have done and it's built lessons based on how I've built lessons, but customized it to this dialogue. And so, เดินไปทางนี้ now you can see like this by and it's picked up on that by and ma. They're taken straight from my thinking and meaning section within Cracking Thai Fundamentals. I've been away. Where have I been? Well, I'm going to show you today, but let me just say, everything is going to change from here on in. For the better? Let's see. All I can say is if you're a learner of Thai, Lao, Japanese, Chinese, not just Mandarin, but Cantonese, Hokkien, Minahua, pretty much any language across Asia, over the coming months, you're going to want to watch this. Now, most people who have been following me on the channel know for about the past year, I have spent a lot of time building out some of what I think are probably some of the best tools out there for learning tonal languages, languages with an Abugida script like Thai, Lao, any Indic language, Tibetan, any of these scripts, Khmer, that are built on the ancient Brahmic Abugida, which is a map of the mouth rather than just an alphabet. Tonal languages and pretty much languages from China all the way down to the tip of Indonesia and even Austronesian languages. We'll get into that after they go down into the Pacific. But those tools are all nice and well and good. But what good are those tools if you can't actually learn? Well, where have I been over the past few months? I've been coding. What I've built, I think, is going to not only change the way that we learn languages like Thai, Chinese, Japanese, but it's going to change the way that we learn in general. The platform that I built, while I'm using it for my language stuff, actually is a platform that can be used for any subject in any domain on any topic, and you'll see how powerful it is, because no more just drag and drop or mix and match things like these Duolingo kind of activities. I've built a robust system so that we can have the richest learning tools developed by the people who know the best about their subject domains, and just have them injected and AI infused with real content from the writers and the authors, as well as content from out there, and using those tools to give us the most interactive, immersive learning experience possible. Well, I think is possible. No more just watching a video and PDF and stuff like this. Let's have a look. So you can actually jump over here now. I've kind of got it a bit hidden because I'm not doing the full release. So I'm going to give you a demo of just what can be done. So we're going to start a new learning session. Think of this as like if you're in ChatGPT or something like this and you're starting a new thread, a new conversation. And what happens, you've got a learning arena here. And then in a moment, you're going to see this is flash up. It's preparing your toolbox. So just like the gladiator, he's got his tools. He's got the weapons of choice that they can use against each other. So those tools are here. Now you can actually come and add tools if you want. So supposing you wanted to have a consonant compass. Let me grab a compass here. Bang. And you can see if I hide this now, that's added a consonant compass for me. Now here I've got Thai Devanagari. You can actually add any language that you want that I've got the script for. You can do it manually. I'll be making this, but supposing I don't want Devanagari, I just want Khmer and Burmese into that. Well, that is instantly going to reload, and you have fully interactive versions of the tools that you all know and love that I've got elsewhere on the site. So you can click on that and it's going to say it for you and do all of it. This is your toolbox. This isn't the learning area though. So I'll delete that out. And these tools can be anything, by the way. You've even got you can drop an abacus in there. And you've got an abacus to use. Supposing I wanted to add here, what's another one? I want a sketch pad to practice writing on. So you've got a little sketch pad you can draw things on and practice writing. And you can then swap between your tools here. You see that? Okay. And you can see this either in bento view, so they're side by side like in a bento box. You can see it in tab view or flow view where they're just one after each other. Okay, so that's your toolbox. This is going to come in handy later on, because the idea is just like as you're learning and you've got like your books next to you, your dictionaries, your reference books that you're learning, and you're watching a video and you're looking things up, this toolbox is going to be that thing that you have on your side. And as you're learning, you might be wanting to use the tools in full screen, so you can just click into full screen mode. Otherwise, you can hide it and you can run what I call, this is the learning zone or the content zone. And you can have them split or you can have them in full screen like that. So now we've covered the toolbox. I'll delete those tools and let's come across here and look here. I might just collapse this so we get a little bit more space here. Okay, so this is the learning area. Now, my gripe with a lot of these online learning, say apps for learning language, is that you're locked into their activities, and they're going to have a very limited number of activities. It might be match this word to the picture, or it might be, what is this person saying? Type in what they're saying. And those are really problematic. Especially, say you're working in a language that doesn't really have matching grammar. Well, then you don't want to have them type in every single word what this is, because maybe it's not. Maybe there are a whole bunch of different ways that you could say that, or that would really mean. But unless you're using their stilted, very static tools, well, then you're not going to know. So I wanted to build a system that is going to be able to be really flexible when it comes to the tools that you use, the activities that you can do with no limit. If the learner wanted to create a tool that was way beyond what the author of the content was doing, they could do that and technically use that in their learning as well. And the other thing is, with AI-driven learning, it can go really bad really quickly. One, we've seen again with Duolingo, they've gotten rid of all of their content authors, and they say that they're AI first. They've got a lot of pushback. I don't know if they're still sticking to that, but that's not great. And you end up with some very meh stuff. And on the other side, if you've ever tried to learn with something like Claude or ChatGPT, it's okay, but you've got to know how to drive your learning, and you're driving there. It's all textual. And again, you don't have these interactive tools. So let's just jump into this. What I've got here is you can see select a key. I don't want to charge you all this money with a fear that maybe you will use this much AI or these many tokens. And so I'll have to charge you at a rate that's going to cover my butt. And so I've made this model where you bring your own keys. So I'm here with OpenAI. I'm setting it up. I've got it. You can actually put keys from Anthropic or whatever in, but right now it's all set up for OpenAI. In the coming week or so, I will tweak the systems to make sure that other engines are going to work. And then you can choose your model. So here I've got GPT 3.5, 4, and 4.0. I did have 5, and I've been testing it, and I'm not convinced that 5 is worth the cost and the effort to upgrade here, and it ends up costing you more, and the results weren't as good. One thing on ChatGPT 5 is that for some of these, I've tweaked the temperature of AI to 0.7 because I want to make it more accurate. I don't want it to give these fluffy responses. And so I've capped it at 4 here for the moment. Let me see how my testing goes. I might up it. Now, you might be thinking, oh, what's the difference between using this and AI, ChatGPT, or any of these? The big difference is, have a look at this. Let me just ask a question. How should I start to crack the Thai fundamentals? Okay, the reason why it's fundamentals. Now, as you know, I'm the author of Cracking Thai Fundamentals, Thai Operating System for the Mind. Now, I started developing this course back in 1999, started running it around 2000 as a face-to-face course. The book came out in 2015. And so I have blog articles, YouTube videos since 2007, my book, everything that I have ever taught. I built an engine to ingest all of that. So not only the stuff that you see in ChatGPT, but I built what's called a RAG application. And I built these agents that are mini-me's that look into every aspect of language, from tones to consonants to writing to understanding the history, the cultural links, all of my writing, bringing those in together. So when any question is asked, now it's my content in there, but in the future, I want to get other experts in other language areas. I would say that my key areas are Thai, Chinese, Indonesian, these TAI languages, tonal languages, Abugida-based scripts. That's my domain. And so I've got my stuff in there, but in the future, I want to get the best content from the best people, putting it in here. Now watch what happens. If I click this, submit, I want to make this thinking thing more animated and more useful. But what it's doing now, it's going out there, it's looking at everything that I have ever written. It's looking at the tools that I have. It's looking at your question, looking at what you might want, and look at what it's done here. So it's given us a response, but this isn't any ordinary AI response. So starting to learn the Thai fundamentals, familiarize yourself with the script. I'm a bit upset that it's used a Z there. I tried to make sure that it uses an S. Basic vocab and phrases. So what it's done here is gone in and gotten parts out of my book, gotten areas, tried to summarize, to target at what you're doing and give you an initial response. But then what's coming down here is it actually links into my existing content. So here there are all lessons. So these are coming from J Academy in this case, so preparing your environment, thinking in meanings. So if you click into this, it's actually linked in, or you can read more about what this is. And so there's that, and you can actually click on the lesson, and then that as a normal lesson is going to open up. Now, the way I've built this system is that if you want traditional lessons, they're going to be there for you. And here you go. And that lesson is out there. I'll pause this. This is my Cracking Thai Fundamentals program, and it goes through all the preparation and everything, but that's linked into here. It's been triggered based on your query. You can choose whether or not you want to do that lesson or not. You don't have to, but you can go through it. And then you can see more lesson suggestions if you want, okay, based on what you asked. Now what it's done is gone through my book. Now I think this is a game changer, not just for me, but for any author, and you'll see how powerful it gets in a minute. It's actually taken all of the content of my book, and just like when you make a request to then ChatGPT, the way that I've tagged it, and I've particularly built agents to really look for what's important with learning languages. And so now it's grabbed from my book, click to introducing Cracking Thai Fundamentals. You can read it. It's talking about this. This is an excerpt from Cracking Thai Fundamentals. You can do that. So if you got the book, you can go in and read that from there. It'll pick out the excerpts that are relevant to what you've done. Or if it's coming from, say, a blog post like that, look at this, clicked to read. And so when you click it, that you can see is actually then loading that article in, and you can read the full article straight here in your learning content area. Okay, so all of your learning's done here. Now with every action that you're doing, it's learning about what you're learning about, what you might be wanting to learn. It's learning how much you know, how much you don't know. You've already filled in your language profiles in your profile area. And so it's learning how you learn, and it's learning how to teach you where you're at to get you where you want to go. Now, let me just collapse this prompt for a minute. The other thing is, when you're asking that question, when you said, how do I start to learn Thai? It starts to send you then suggested clips that are based on your learning. And so you can look at these and they'll give you more clips. Now, if you want to watch a video, you can actually come here. So let's look at this Thai Bites. There's no such sound as. I'll click on this now. This is an old clip. And you can see now that videos come up here. Now, remember, I talked about the toolbox that was just here. So if you've got a video, say, that you want to keep watching or keep as a tool. Now, this session isn't going to go anywhere, but you want this as a fast access, you just say add to my toolbox. Bang, it's in your toolbox now. And so you can sit there and actually watch it here. Now again, it knows that you're watching a video, what you're doing, everything is contained in here, which I think is pretty cool. I want something like this when I'm learning. So that's all well and good. That's just my stuff. But what about other things? Okay, so let's just say I'm learning Chinese and I want to say, how do I start learning kanji? Okay, or Hanzi. And so again, I've asked a question. It's going to suggest videos, suggest lessons. Well, I'll tell you what, you can actually turn this off. So if you don't want to see my lesson suggestions, that's fine. But I do want to see videos, submit. And again, so that's going to go back. It's thinking. I'll just close that down. And so it's going to look then through all the video content that I've put in there. Now, right now, it's looking through just my video content. But as we get into languages where I'm not the expert, I'm going to make sure that it gets the best videos in here. And bang, you've got all kanji-based videos, which actually it's done a good job. It's picked the ones that I would have wanted you to watch. So again, you click on the video that you want to watch. Bang, it's there. You can add to your toolbox. Or if you go to the videos here, you can actually save directly to your toolbox. So save to toolbox. And so now I've got these 3 videos in my toolbox that you can watch. That alone is pretty cool. It gets better. That's just the base level. This is where it starts to get really powerful. If anybody's used something like Discord out there, you've got things that are like slash commands if you're using bots there. And so I've added slash commands in here, which I really think are going to be the powerhouse of learning. Now, I mentioned this only has my videos, but supposing I'm learning Japanese and my Japanese is crap. And I can read Japanese pretty well. I can read a newspaper. I know the grammar and I can make things out. But there's no way I would say my Japanese is fluent. But Dogen, oh my God, Dogen is the master of Japanese pitch accent and Matt versus Japan. So supposing I go out there and I want to get one of Dogen's clips on pitch accent. And so all I have to do now is I'm going to get the clip here. So I copy the URL from Dogen's clip and I come across here and I just say add video. Now you can see as I start to type, it'll filter these down, add video, bang. And now it's got these fields, YouTube URL, bang. And I'll say this is Dogen's pitch accent intro, okay? Intro. And I can click on that and bang, I have Dogen's clip there. And again, I can save this to my toolbox. I got Dogen in there teaching me about Japanese pitch accent that I can now watch. But it's not just videos. Now, a lot of the time I'll come to say Wiktionary or somewhere and I'll want an image. So these are really cool animated images. Very soon you'll see these native in my site, so you won't even have to copy an image. But supposing I wanted this image of the stroke order of the character Jung, which means eternal. Well, you just get the address. So here I copy image address and I come back here and I say add image, bang. I put the image URL and I could say this is the Jung Chinese character. And I submit and bang, I have that image. That could be any image. So as you're learning, as you're browsing and you're looking through things, if you see things that are helping you during a lesson and you want to keep it here in your lesson, bang, add to toolbox. Look at all of this now. I have all of these in my toolbox. Now you can see this in bento view, so they're all actually there, so you can quickly click on them, or in flow view again, and all of those things are down there. But this is your toolbox. You remember before when I got a version of my compass, which languages do I want? I want Thai, let's say Burmese, Balinese, and Khmer. All right, so you can say whatever you want there, whatever languages. I tried different systems, but that ended up really big, like doing all of these clicking, which languages they covered. So I figured it's easy just to type which ones you want. Submit. Now what that's doing is taking your query, injecting it in. Now many of these, if you don't have your API keys, they're still usable. This is one of the ones that are usable. Adding videos is usable even without AI API keys, because I've built all the logic out and I keep your API AI footprint very, very thin because I've built all the functions out on the back end that do the heavy lifting. So AI in the end just does something very thin. It won't cost you a bomb. And look at this. I got Thai, Khmer, Balinese, Burmese, all using my compass. Now, each one of these tools here are built on this framework that I invented. I made it up and I built a communications system. So every single thing here that you see, every video, every tool, everything in here are broadcasting messages and able to receive messages. So potentially, again, so here I've gotten this up, I can get a handwriting. And if I, for example, want to practice the first letters of the Thai alphabet, so Gõ Kai, Kho Kai, Kho Kwai, Kho La Khang, Ngo Ngu, just say those and submit. Look at this. I have a handwriting, and now I can just add this again across to my toolbox. Bang. And you can actually sit there and practice your handwriting in the language. You can practice looking at different fonts here. But the really cool thing is that I'll just reset all of those. This will be brought in very soon to a drag and drop, but I'll show you where I'm going with these. So supposing you're in the middle of a lesson and you have a quiz. You don't want to be quizzed on something random. You want to be quizzed on what you've been doing. But how do you do that if everything you've been doing is AI generated and using these custom tools? Well, have a look here. I have these reference tokens. So every single tool here actually has its own address, and so each consonant here and the script you're looking at. So this is the script you're looking at, Thai, that'll switch to Burmese, Balinese. Every time I click that, those values are changing. Every time I click a consonant, the value is changing. And so what happens, if you link that, I could actually take that, and then when you click in here, the text, I could drop that in here then as the text. There's a couple of bugs at the moment, but it'll be working in the coming day or so. It's working in a we call it a asynchronous system. I just need to tweak a couple of things, but you'll be able to then have all of these tools communicate with each other and shoot out. So that means your exams, your quizzes, your flashcards, everything will be linked together with what you're actually learning from what you're driving, what the AI is driving, or what traditional courses, which I also have in there, are driving, which I think, again, is super, super powerful. And here you can, change your backdrops. You've got all of these different graphs that you want. If I want to change this to a Chinese character, so supposing I actually want to practice writing this Yong character here, well, you can do it. It's a bit high up. It's okay. I can knock it down. If I want to change the type of script, and then bang, you can use that. Now, I'm using my drag pad mouse here, but you can actually do this on your phone. It works perfectly. So now you've got tools and a learning arena where you're learning. It's generating lessons for you. It's got tools where you can be interactive with the learning. You can learn traditional lessons if you want, whatever you want. You can add videos, watch them. It's all following you. And every step of the way, it's actually tracking your learning, how you're learning, and it will know how to get you where you're wanting to go with your learning goal. Let me just reset that. It gets better. Have a look at this. So yeah, that's all nice. I've called my tools and I know practice, but what if I actually want a lesson? If you're learning Thai, Chinese, Lao, Vietnamese, Malay, Japanese, and even in Thai, you could be learning Isan, Northern Thai, Southern Thai. If you're learning Chinese, right now I've got it wired for Mandarin, Cantonese, Southern Min, that's Taiwanese, Hokkien, Singapore, or Teochew. Or in Lao, you've got standard, Pakse, Luang Prabang, Lao. In Vietnamese, you have Northern, Central, Southern. In Malay, we've got standard, Kelantan. The reason I've put Kelantan and Jawi in there is because Kelantan Malay is actually what the southern provinces of Thailand speak as well. And Jawi for real Thai Jawi, that we call Bahasa Jawi in Thailand, and Japanese. And so I've got Kansai Ben and standard Japanese at the moment. Have a look at this. Let me do Thai first. And so the way I've got it, let me say, write me a dialogue of a tourist looking for the closest BTS station. Okay, so I've just given it a prompt like that. Now you could put the actual text in quotes and it would take that direct text, but look at this. And it's thinking, so what it's doing, it's going out there, it's asking the agents that I've built based on the way that I learn and the way that I want the language structured. I don't want fluffy, crappy language, so I've given it some guide rails based on all of my stuff on what kind of language I want, and it's developing seed sentences. From that, then it's going to my cracking Thai fundamental stuff. It's going to all of my stuff and seeing what's the best type of lesson, a short lesson in this session that the learner could do based on this seed text. Now, this is taking a little bit of time at the moment. Part of it's because of the server, but part of it's because, just like if you've used ChatGPT, it's doing thinking. It's getting something, it's sending it back, it's readjusting it. And then from those, what it's building out, bang, we have it here. Look at this. Now, it knows it's Thai. So I've built a specific agent for learning Thai. And actually, so I've got, the way it goes is, you send a query across, you've got this general agent that I built, then it sends it to my cracking language fundamental CLF teacher. From that CLF teacher, it's saying, what language is this guy learning and what do they want to do? Oh, they want a slash command and they want to have a lesson. So it sends it to the lesson bot. What language are you wanting a lesson in? Thai. And then I've built out the Thai. And even for Thai, I've got different ones for dialects. Now have a look at this. Just here alone, if you click on this now, you can get the speech, the language. Now it's filled it all in here. Now this has used one of these tools. Now I have transliteration in English here, but just showing you, if you have AI enabled and your keys enabled, you can click on this. So I'll click on this here. And what it's doing is now fetching via AI another version to show you exactly what the translation is of this or of sentence to sentence. And so you've got the transliteration there. Now I've put this because I know this scale blows out. And so have a look here. You've got every single syllable and word in there done. You've seen the pitch there. Not only that, with this one in particular, you can actually swap dialects. So if you want to see what the pitches would be for those words in Isan, bang, it changes the pitch contours. But let's go back to Bangkok Thai. And look at this. Now it's built a lesson out. Now, if you want to add that to your toolbox, by the way, that thing, bang, I've got it added here and it's all added it down there to keep for a later date. But we want to see the lesson. What lesson did it build out for us? Here, you've got transliteration, phrases and structures. So it's actually gone through my book. It's gone through the text that I would have done, and it's built lessons based on how I've built lessons, but customized it to this dialogue. And so เดินไปทางนี้ now you can see like this by, and it's picked up on that by and ma. They're taken straight from my thinking and meaning section within Cracking Thai Fundamentals. This is revolutionary. I think for anybody who's ever written a book, once you've written the book, it's kind of stagnant. What I've done here is taken a still stagnant book and I've breathed life into it by taking that and basically turning the whole book into a guidebook with variables. So now everything you're learning is able to be passed through the book. And so you're seeing my book's version of this discussion, key takeaways from that. And then it gives you glossary, vocabulary. Now, this list here, I've got other modules I'll be releasing this week. So it'll do flashcard series for you. Spaced repetition in words and phrases you'll be getting later on. Talks about pronouns and how to use that, key takeaways. It says, do you want to practice your handwriting? And just like we have this handwriting grid here, where is our handwriting sketchpad matrix here? So it'll do one of those for the words that you're learning. Or see a tone chart for Central Thai. So look at this. So if I click that, and bang, I've got now my tone chart for Central Thai. If I want to add that to my toolbox again, now I'm collecting, you can see why the toolbox is so powerful here. So I can quickly jump to any of these. And if I want to see now this tone box here, and so this, you can start to review your tones and how they're spelt. Anything that I have in here can be a tool. Now, it gets better. Let me just hide that toolbox out for a minute. I'm going to come here and hide this. I'll put this into full screen so you can see. Now, I mentioned about other languages. What if you're learning Japanese? And we saw Dogen's pitch accent there. So I'm no expert on pitch accent. Dogen is the master. But what I did do, look at this, lesson from content. So each thing you do, you see there's follow-up. So you could do a lesson on that. But I'm going to choose Japanese. And I'm just going to say, where's the closest JR station? Okay, so that's just my seat. You could be anything, and I've made it intelligent enough to sort of guess what you want, whether it's just a single sentence or a full lesson. And so what it's doing now is going out, building the Japanese teaching agent based on what I've seen are the best in Japanese teaching sort of standard lessons. It's gone out there. It's building a seed sentence. It's seeing what's really important for Japanese. Particles, honorifics, pitch accent, your furigana, the different classes, the levels of speech. And bang, look at that. Now, this will be improving as we go along. The beautiful way that this has been, I guess, architected, I can customize how each language actually renders a lesson and source text. So right now, these are pretty much placeholders. I will be adding tools in specific to language, but phrases instruction. So look at this car. So this is from this text here, this source text here. So, 一番近い JR 駅はどこですか? Okay, so this is where is the closest station. So it's given you phrases here. It's given you structures here, pronouns. And so it's talked about boku versus watashi and nata, or even pronoun dropping. Key takeaways here. Look at this. I built this engine out now that you've got the kanji, you've got the furigana in kana up top. You've got your kana here. You've got the romaji here. You've got the pitch accent class here. So you've got heban, odaka, heban, atamadaka, whatever it is. And then I generate these on the fly. And so these are actually SVGs to try and give you those. So this is the heban pattern. If you've watched Dogen, you would know about that. This is the atamadaka. So taka here, taka means high. So atamadaka means the high mora is first and then it drops down low. And this heban means you start low and then you go high. And then from there, again, you can practice your handwriting. There are going to be all of these follow-ups, but these lessons are going to stick with you. Now, it's saving as you go along, or you can save your progress. It's not just Japanese, though. I also have, I'll tell you what, let's do a lesson in Cantonese. You want to give it a go? So I'm going to open this up here. I'll do another / lesson. So lesson from content. I'm going to choose Chinese, Cantonese. How long have you been speaking Cantonese? Just a seed sentence. Now, because it's a seed sentence, it will translate that original sentence for you, and you should see it there. That's the way I've coded in there. But it's also going to give you a dialogue based on that concept, which then you can learn the culturally nuanced language in Cantonese about whatever it is that you wrote. And so here's my Cantonese. It's come up. And so the source text is how long have you been speaking Cantonese? And here, now I need to tweak this. I don't want to ping. I want to get Yale. I prefer it better. But you could say that whichever you want. 你講咗廣東話幾耐啊? Okay, how long have you been speaking Cantonese? That's the first sentence, and it builds a dialogue for you. Phrases and structures. And so it talks about particles again. Pronouns, dialects, Hong Kong versus mainland when you're looking at Cantonese. So this is mainland versus Hong Kong particles, key takeaways. Then you've got your vocab. So here I put simplified and traditional because you have Guangzhou on the mainland or Hong Kong that uses traditional. You got your transliteration, speaking, and notes. And again, you can practice handwriting. Cantonese tones. I want a quick chart on that, so I click on that. Bang. Supposing I didn't want Cantonese tones, what I've put here is you can click on one of these follow-ups, but you can refine it. So I say, I actually want to see Mandarin tones. Okay? So what this does is takes whatever this is going to give you, but you refine it, and it should then give you what you asked for. Bang, you've got Mandarin tones. Let me just close that down here. And so they're your Mandarin tones, and above here you've got your Cantonese tones. And again, they can be added to your toolbox. Now, one thing I didn't show you yet was that this is speech enabled, and I think this will be the last thing because it's gonna be a really long clip. If you have your Google Voice key in there, now you can see this is green means I'm AI enabled, glowing blue means voice enabled. And here is Cantonese. So if I want a male speaker speaking Cantonese and I want it to say this.
你講咗廣東話幾耐啊?
Look at that. So it's actually come in.
你講咗廣東話幾耐啊?
These are high quality voices. These are your chirp voices. If you want to hear the Mandarin, now this is going to be weird because Mandarin's saying Cantonese characters, but let me show you a premium Mandarin voice.
你講咗廣東話幾耐呀?
Okay, and you want a female voice?
你講咗廣東話幾耐呀?
Okay, so you get all your voice practice, and many of these really high-end voices are pretty good. Now, you remember when I had this bit here with the Thai text, and I said you can get the audio, the phonetics. So supposing you actually want to hear it.
นึกท่องเที่ยว
Okay, nak tong tiao. You can actually hear it word for word, or I can hear this entire excerpt.
นักท่องเที่ยวสวัสดีครับขอถามทางหน่อยครับสถานี BTS ที่ใกล้ที่สุดอยู่ที่ไหนครับ
Okay, now you see some of these might be spaced weird, like satani. So if you need to fix some of the spacing up, you can come in and play with it here. So for example, that sawaddi, I can sawat, bang, sawaddi, that looks correct now. So you can play with the tones as well. And then you can actually click that will be krap.
Krap.
You've got your learning area. Oh, by the way, if you want to see a print-friendly version of your lesson, just as long as everything has been saved up down the bottom. Now, I realize that if you're on a mobile, you want screen real estate, so you can sort of expand and contract that. Once you've hit save progress, that's all saving it there, and it's also saving your learning profile so it knows what you're learning. You can open a print-friendly version. So if I click on that now, it actually has saved a print-friendly version of that lesson. So you can actually save that entire session if you want as a PDF file or whatever you want to do with it. It's up to you. Now, it will only be deleted if you delete it from the server too. So you come back to your profile on my site and that lesson is all still going to be there. If you don't have AI keys, you can still use a lot of the functionality here. Like you can still check phrases out and stuff like that using my tools and inject text into them. That will still work, but the real power kicks in when you have AI enabled. If you're learning pitch accent, this is wild, and I'm going to be building out a bunch of more tools because I want to actually get on top of pitch accent as well. But for each language, I'm going to be in Taiwan, so I'm going to be building a whole series of language plugins that go into these lessons that go into Taiwanese native languages. They're the 少数民族 in Thailand, the 本地人的语言. And so you'll be able to go through those. You can go through different dialects in Thai. I think that this is one of the most powerful tools that is out there for learning, especially languages in Asia, but more so. What I've built here is just pretty much a proof of concept of my overall framework. What you see here can be applied to any subject: math, science, history, any STEM topic, anything. You just need to have whoever the expert's content is in there. You need to build out what your lessons you think the ideal lessons will be. You train the AI and it's going to be able to work with that and breathe life into the books, into the journals, into this traditionally static text. Now you have fully interactive text, and I've built this toolbox so even third-party tool developers can build their own tools like I've done here with mine and inject them into these arenas to be able to take in AI data and be used in teaching as well. I think it's super powerful. It's actually teacher friendly. So this will tell you what your students need to learn on any given day. You just have to follow it. You can see what homework your students have been doing. It'll actually say, oh, today you need to work on this with Johnny because he's been having trouble with this exercise, and the teacher can work on that with them. So this is teacher friendly. It's not doing away with teachers. It's using AI the way I think it should be used. It's using it in conjunction with real life teachers and real life content, not just leaving it up to the AI to decide. And I think it's a game changer. Come in at crackinglanguage.com. Right now, it's still in beta, so you'll be testing. Come into the Discord server because we have a group there and people can help you on board how to put your keys in and everything so it's used. I'll be doing guides up. But I really, really hope that this is going to become the gold standard of language learning, especially for languages across Asia. Let me know what you think. Click like, subscribe. If you are learning Thai and you haven't got a copy, get that. And also come to J Academy because many of these lessons are from the subscriptions there. So if you want to do those still subscription lessons, that's pretty much the only way that this is making money at the moment. Otherwise, everything else is free. Jump into the Discord server. Let's talk. We have a community of users there and language learners. I'm Stuart J. Raj. I'll see you on the other side.